Before maps learned to lie about the sea, there was a tree so tall it scratched the sky. A dragon chewed its roots, a squirrel carried words like sparks. Now that myth wears chains in Elbaf, they call him Loki. But the deep calls something older in his blood. Nidhogg.
Now the Yggdrasil's roots in old Norse tales, till even gods felt afraid. Was Nidhogg just a beast of ruin, or a judge of promises betrayed? Why does it live beneath the world tree, where all the real weight hangs? Why does it feast on corpses marked by broken vows and foul old fangs? If a dragon lives where power hides its rod beneath the bark, is it end of all creation, or the bite that cuts corruption from the dark? If Ragnarok begins when that rude hunger finally breaks its chain, what happens when that same idea wakes up in another world again? Why is Elbaf's great tree drawn like a shadow of that first world wood? Why does a giant prince named Loki stand exactly where that dragon should? Why does their legendary fruit sleep so deep beneath the roots? Why is it feared like ancient fire, not just another devil's loot? When Harald says Loki ate that fruit and calls him his own doom, is that just a father's curse or a myth walking back into the room? If the power turns a silhouette to serpent coiled in blackened flame, is it Mythical Zoan Nidhogg, the only shape that fits the name? If Norse put Nidhogg under a tree and Oda put Loki under one too, is that coincidence or foreshadow? And what is that fruit supposed to do? Maybe the legendary fruit is Mythical Zoan, model Nidhogg, underworld serpent at the root of a fake world law. If Loki's body is the vessel and the dragon is the core, is he really world destroyer, or just the bite at heaven's floor? If the red line is a counterfeit world tree stabbed through the sea, does Nidhogg Loki exist to chew that trunk and set the oceans free? Why is Ragnir a hammer squirrel spirit dancing up and down his spine? Why does it look like Ratatoskr, messenger between eagle crown and serpent line? If Ragnir ate a mythical model to something like Ratatoskr's role, is it carrying news from sun god Nika down to Nidhogg in his soul? When holy knights offer Loki rank with chains disguised as sacred light, why does Ragnir spark his haki like a squirrel starting Ragnarok's first fight? If a one-piece serpent of hellfire is just Nidhogg with another name, is it Loki the present dragon chewing at Emu's hidden frame? Nidhogg bites a world tree's roots, Loki bites a world government built like one. Nidhogg dwells where corpses lie, Loki walks where erased kingdoms are done. Nidhogg marks the end of thrones that won't confess their crime. Loki is branded world destroyer for aiming at that same design. So if a giant prince in chains eats a fruit beneath a sacred tree and rises as a serpent of hellfire, hating only gods not see, is that just a cool design or a myth reborn in different ink? How many clues do we need before we say what we all think? Is he Loki or Nidhogg, or both at once inside his skin? Is he curse upon creation, or the start of something clean? When he says I'll burn the world until the last rotten branch is gone, do you hear a madman's promise, or a root saying it has waited far too long? If the red line is a fake world tree driven through the ocean's heart, maybe that ancient serpent finally found its perfect defeat. The Norse one where a dragon chews the roots beneath your feet, or the new one where a giant prince eats Nidhogg's myth and wears its flame. If both are true, then every time he laughs at cards, you hear two legends speak the same. Nidhogg.